This episode is brought to you by Brewy, a coffee that nourishes your mind and body. Brewy is an organic coffee blend loaded with 6 adaptogenic mushrooms, so you can enjoy the benefits of superfoods while being fueled in your day-to-day life. To receive your Brewy discount code, tag a friend in this episode's coming soon post. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the UR Pod Usage Rate. Today we're going to be taking a look at Melbourne United, who we both went and watched last night against the Tassie Jack Jumpers.
The Melbourne United under-22s.
Yeah, it might have been the under-22s. I think they only had a couple of guys who were going to be on their lists playing throughout the season. So we'll quickly go over their outs. I'm just going to run through the names, and then we might talk about who we think the biggest losses are.
Yep.
So they lost Xavier Rattan-Mays, Rajon Tucker, Jordan Caroline obviously played early in the season, Marcus Lee. They've lost those three from the import spots. Who do we think the biggest loss is there?
You mentioned it early in the year, though. You never like to see big turnover, do you?
No. So who do you believe is going to be the biggest loss in the import slots? Rattan-Mays, Tucker, or Marcus Lee?
Tough to say, but I really like what Marcus Lee gives to an NBL list. Genuine size, rim protection. It's something that you really can't buy a hell of a lot of in these leagues. I'm not saying you're probably going to get the most production out of him, but as far as actually money like value, I think he's a good pickup for the JJs and a big loss for United.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll obviously get to their in soon, but I think they've covered that pretty well with Jallo Alachua, but we'll obviously get to him soon. They've also lost Mason Peatling to Illawarra.
Yep.
Lockie Barker's down to the JJs, David Aquera over to Perth, Isaac Humphries to Adelaide, and David Barlow had the coaching gig last night.
He did. I saw him on the bench and I thought to myself, is he the head coach? He's not.
No. Dean Vickman was sitting at the end of the bench with Ian Clark.
Was he? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Just, I guess it's pre-season for them too, so
that's right.
Trying to build that capacity among your coaches is also really cool. So holding on to Brad Newley, Chris Golding, Shay Ely, Zach Triplett, and Malith Makua.
Makua played last night.
Yes, he did.
Wasn't great, I didn't think. No. Has probably the worst handle of a professional basketballer I've seen.
It's got two of Jalen Brown's left hands.
It was average last night. Brad Newley looks old.
Yeah, he does.
I think he was probably asked to do a bit more than he usually would be last night. I think provides good leadership. Loves Shay Hilly. I think he's a very good player.
Yeah, I think he's awesome. I was so disappointed he had so many injuries last year. Zach Triplett played again last night. I thought he was going to come on a lot better than he has done.
Didn't live up to his last name last night.
No, not at all. I think he went 0 for 3 from
missed a lot of shots.
Yeah, so that was unfortunate for him. He just kind of, I wouldn't know even how many minutes he played. He just kind of seemed like a bit
I think he ran up and down a fair bit, but he
would have been good on the Telstra tracker.
Yeah, but he didn't unfortunately hit the box score as much as he would have liked.
No, so Chris Golding obviously over with the Boomers at the World Cup.
Has he hit the court yet?
No, he hasn't hit the court yet. Hopefully he'll get out there tonight against Japan.
Is that the dream job?
Oh, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Front row seats
for the
World Cup.
And maybe having to shoot a 3. That's the dream, I reckon.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't get him on late the other day.
Yes, no, I was surprised he didn't play in those timeout minutes in the end of quarters because there was a few of them.
Yeah.
He's handy.
Yep. Oh, definitely. He doesn't need a warm-up.
No.
So Shay Ely also sticking around. We're obviously both pretty high on him.
Defensive players, you can never have enough of them.
No, he's
tenacity.
Back-to-back 6 man of the year.
Yeah, leadership
as well.
You can tell, and it's got an offensive game. We see it in the NBL one every year. He's a very good player.
Yeah, just unfortunate with the concussions for Shay Ely. So hopefully they don't cause him too many issues this year. So we'll move on to the ins of obviously they had a fair few outs, so they're going to have a fair few wins, aren't they? We'll classify Ariel Huckporty as an in. Next star a couple of years ago, did the ACL back in, played last night.
Impressive, I thought. Big boy.
He's big, isn't he?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
Really good rim protector. He had some massive weak side blocks.
Oh, he did.
Last night.
A long way up the backboard too.
Yeah, just gets up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good defender. I think for this team, he's obviously going to be covering for Luala Chul, who's going to be looking to come back November, I think it is.
South Sudan got their first win last night.
Yeah, how cool is that?
And it's very cool.
Yeah, Majuk Deng was pretty good. Not you.
He was.
Yeah, man. So Huck looks like he's going to have the starting spot until Luala Chul comes back in. So he's going to kind of, I think, cover that Marcus Lee sort of role. Rebound, block, roll hard, set big screens.
Still very slow on the offensive end, I think. I don't think you're going to get much out of him. That maybe offensive rebounding, but he had a couple last night, and then just with the bringing it down, Jordan Crawford, Milton Dawn swept on the bar.
Jeez, Crawford's little, isn't he?
He's very little.
What's a kid doing out there?
Well, he was in the huddle, and I didn't know I thought there was only 4 people out there.
They've got the mascot on the corner. But no, I think Huck will fit in really nicely. The offensive part of his game is probably the weaker part of his game, a bit stronger on the defensive side of the ball. But that seems to be what Melbourne United's culture is all about. Cameron Flynn, also over at the World Cup.
Yes, with New Zealand.
Him and Shay Ely teamed up over there and with United. So
Do you reckon there's been a bit of communication there?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks pretty good.
He does. He had some NBA workouts.
Did he?
He worked out with the Clippers, maybe another one. So must have been rated pretty highly in that space, and good pick up those ones.
Yeah, definitely looked like a really good defender in the couple of World Cup games that I've watched, and a pretty good all around sort of
athletic
player as well. Is he
good up and down?
Yep. So I think he's gonna be a pretty good addition. Tanner Krebs, spoke about him briefly when we did the Brisbane Bullets episode. How do we think he's going to transfer over to United?
I think he'll be great. Good role player. Again, you say these guys that bring tenacity, bit of he's always up in the grill. He's that's like you said, it's Melbourne United's culture. It seems what they're building around, and another really good guy, a bit closer to home. So. Closer to the Apple Isle, and he is definitely going to be a good pickup for Melbourne.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's probably, like Melbourne United have a really good culture of one defence, but also player development.
Hope to see him shoot the ball a little bit better.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think he does have a really good shot, which we saw with the Gold Coast Rollers.
Yes.
A couple of years ago when he played with them. So hopefully he can take another step forward. At NBL level, I think he can be a really solid starting 3.
Yeah, definitely.
Potentially in this outfit. Joe Luala Chul, obviously out till November.
Massive in.
Oh, huge.
Was
ring ding over in your telephone here.
The year before he left was MVP contention, and just his offensive game just came out of just out of nowhere, didn't it?
And he averaged 20 and 10 with a couple of blocks over in China. Last year, which is no mean feat.
No, I mean it's right. It's stats are stats, and he's definitely a huge in back into the NBL.
Yeah, I think they've done really well to get him. He's obviously we say he's a Melbourne boy. Obviously came over to Australia at a very young age, but. When you can slot in a guy who's classified as a local who's an MVP candidate,
that's awesome, isn't it?
It's a really good signing.
It is, yeah, and it's just that, like you said, the Marcus Lee was a big out. They have definitely recruited in his place because Lyle Chul plays both ends. He's a defensive player, the year caliber player too, and just a really, really good in.
I'll be interested to see.
I'd have loved to see him on the JJs. That's exactly what we need, but
he's obviously got those connections in Melbourne United, and Dean Vickerman's recruitment seems like it's pretty top notch. He's also able to get Luke Travers across from Perth.
They're going to be solid, eh? Yeah. They're going to be a very good basketball team.
Yeah.
They're going to be very hard to score against.
Oh, insanely hard to score against.
Mm-hmm. This guy is looking to be, he's my tip for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, okay.
We see what he does in Summer League.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he plays.
So versatile.
I hope he plays the 4.
Yeah.
I really hope he plays that 4 role, back of the zone, long arms, weak side block. I think he's it. I think he's definitely a smoky for a 2024 Olympic berth.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. So
obviously,
where do you think he sits position wise? Probably same as Jack White.
Similar to Joe Ingles.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need length. We need defense.
Yeah.
We've seen it this first few games. We've been pretty slow to react on those pick and rolls. Nick Kay is not as quick as he used to be.
No, he has lost a couple of steps, hasn't he?
Yeah,
which just happens with age.
But Luke Travers, massive signing, and obviously Perth would be disappointed. He's come through that system, and I think money would have played a bit of a part in his contract. I think, but
yeah, potentially. I think a lot of it is around guys from Melbourne United taking that next step.
Yep.
So we obviously saw Jack White, who played that. I think Luke Travers will play the 4 for Melbourne.
Yep.
That sort of that undersized, really athletic 4. So I think he'll step into that role. Delhi obviously came back for a year and then went over. Joe Luala-Chua went and played Summer League a couple of years ago after being with United. Huck Porty, before he did his ACL, he came.
And that's
really
obviously the
strongly
goal
as well.
for Travers is to find himself on an NBA roster. That's
part of a Summer League championship. So
yes.
unfortunately, if you're winning them with the Cavs, you're going to be waiting a little while.
That's right.
And pretty deep, solid squad, the Cavs. Delhi, back in the NBL. I thought he struggled a couple of years ago when he came over. He's probably dealing with some injuries.
Do you think? I think he's going to come back a better player this year.
I think so too.
I've seen a little bit with Sacramento. Obviously, the NBA is a massive step up, and I don't think he looked out of place in the minutes that he played. I think he's going to come, like you said, he might have been struggling, a bit run down. And that's the thing, when he'd come back the first time, hadn't played a huge amount of minutes, getting back into a full minute structure might have been tough. I think he's going to be better for it this year.
Yeah, same. He obviously offers big leadership.
Yep.
Apparently
basketball IQ's off the chain with Delhi.
It'd be nuts, wouldn't it?
So that's another thing you underestimate. It might not show up on the box score, but a lot of these guys do things that just help the team win.
Yeah, I think they do have, if we look at their full list, they've got a lot of those guys who do those little things and they're prepared to do those things for the team and for the sake of winning. They seem to just have a really solid squad. They've obviously got superstar talent there as well, but they've got selfless guys. I really like them bringing Delhi back for a couple of reasons. One, he's really strong with the ball. He doesn't turn it over a hell of a lot, and I think given Shaylee's issues, having him come off the bench again is going to be really important for them.
Agreed.
Rob Lowe.
Out of retirement.
He's retired for all of about 7 minutes, I think.
John Farnham.
Yeah. Johnny Lowe. So...
What does he actually give you?
Offensive rebounding.
Yeah, that's...
3-point shooting. I think he's going to be a pretty good addition to this team.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to come off I don't know if he will play huge minutes.
Okay.
But
I think so. He's only a nominated replacement player.
Right.
So he, in the couple of articles that I read, Dean Vickerman reckons he's got a pretty good resume of getting guys out of retirement. David Barlow hung him up a couple of times. And there was someone else as well that I can't think of now, but Rob Lowe obviously retired, and he's called him up and pretty much said, look, we want you to cover while Luala-Chua's out. So season starts in 5 weeks. Yep. 5 weeks. So by then we'll be looking at mid-October. He's only going to be sticking around for 4 or 5 weeks to play with Melbourne in the regular season.
It's not a big sample, is it?
No.
Then he can go and do what he wants.
Yeah. It's more of a family holiday, I reckon, for a month living in Melbourne. I think he was pretty keen to, from what I read, to keep his family in Auckland. He played New Zealand NBL in the off-season and absolutely dominated.
Okay.
Had like 24 and 12.
Oh, wow.
So he was playing some of the best
in
basketball.
form then?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure how much he'll be around for the pre-season. Obviously, he wasn't around last night. Nowhere to be sighted. So maybe he'll come over for the Blitz and then into those first couple of weeks of the season. Ian Clark. What do we think about that signing? Big name.
It's a huge name. I still think
Not many letters, but a big name.
I think he's got a lot to give, still at NBL level, offensively for sure. Thought he was really good when he was with Sydney.
Sydney and then Adelaide.
Yeah, Sydney. I thought he was really good with Sydney and provides a bit of offence, which is, we spoke about these names. They're probably a lot more defensively minded, a lot of these names. So it was good to see that their offensive pick up in Ian Clark. I think he'd be a good.
Be interesting to see what his price like in Supercoach. He could be a good one. He's got a good all around game. Could pick up some of that offensive load, especially early in the season when Luala Chill's out.
Luke Travers is in my Supercoach.
Yeah,
he's
I've got him sitting there at the moment as well, along with a heap of imports. Yeah. But now after doing this, I'm thinking, like looking at their big guy department, Huck Porty might be a good one to sort of look at. Depending on his price.
Yeah, but if he's basement price or near basement price, I agree.
Early in the season, he could be a good one. So Ian Clark, I think, for me, I think of two things when I think Ian Clark. I think, one, him stealing the ball from LeBron and LeBron just letting him run ahead of him so he can block him from behind. Jeez, that was funny. And the other thing I think of was how good he was in that grand final series for Sydney when Jalen Adams went down.
He shot the piss out of the ball.
Oh, didn't he? He's streaky.
He is, yeah. But that final series, he really said, I'm the man.
Yeah.
I can do this too.
Yeah.
Broke out clutch a little bit, yeah.
He's clutch, isn't he?
He is.
And then got a couple of the young guys as well. Campbell Blogg.
Seen him last night. Didn't mind him.
I thought he was good.
Yeah. Really attacked the basket.
Man.
Attacked the basket hard.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I think he'll... I think if Illy does go down, he can probably step in and play some backup minutes.
I think so too. I thought he was one of the better players on the court for them last night.
Yeah, 100%. And the other one was Kyle Bowen.
Looked a bit slow for me, but I mean, these big men, they do take a little bit to develop at the professional level, so who knows?
Yeah, so he's obviously on a DP spot. So that's all the ins. What do we think?
Fucking good list.
Oh,
very, very.
What do you think of Melbourne United starting with F, sir? Have you seen that on Street Talk?
I have not.
When Freo, Sammy Newman went over to Fremantle and said, "What do you think of Fremantle starting with F, sir?" And he goes, "I think they're good side." He said, "Starting with F, sir, a fucking good side." That's Melbourne United, I reckon.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. They're a very, very talented roster. Above the line, top three.
Yep.
I think you nearly have to slot them in there.
Yeah, I'm actually going to put them in top two. I think it's them.
I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. They're top two, top three, whatever. They're there. They're competing for a championship again.
100%. After missing, they were below the line last year, so
and they've definitely
covered those gaps.
Yes, they have. Yes,
recruited very well. So, looking at a lineup of Delhi at the 1, Clark at the 2, Golding 3, Travers at the 4, and Huck Porty at the 5. Early season, and then obviously JLA will come into that, and then.
But you look at their backups. They've got Newley, they've got obviously Lowe, Krebs,
Flynn Cameron, and Shea Hilly.
It's a really nice lineup.
That's 10 deep, isn't
it?
It is. Proper 10 deep.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind betting that we see Luke Travers handle the ball a little bit too, at times.
Well, he did play a little bit of handle the ball in the backcourt for Perth.
Yeah. I reckon he'll have a real licence to come off his man, get the ball off the glass and really push it.
So, 100%. Yeah.
And then you're looking at Golding and Ian Clark hanging out in the wings.
Yeah. They're a very good side.
It's naughty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking good side.
A very, very good side.
So we've both got them above the line.
Yes.
Off season, what do we grade them?
It's nearly got to be in the A bracket, doesn't it? Adding Luala Jewel back, Delhi back, and role-playing guys that can really, really do it. Yeah. It's a very good off-season. And not like obviously losing your imports, but then they look at Mays and obviously Rajan Tucker in their guard spots. They've actually been able to fill them pretty well locally.
Yeah. That's something I thought they did really well a couple of years ago before Josh Adams cried them to sleep.
Yeah.
But they seem to have a really good contingent of local guys.
Who wouldn't want to live in Melbourne?
Ah, yeah. Yeah, and they've obviously got really good junior programs through Victoria Basketball as well. Not on the list, but last night, what do we think of young Foxwell?
Don't think he's quite as good as his brother.
Yeah.
Very
He's obviously
short.
a bit younger. Yeah, he's very short, isn't he? He dominates Victorian juniors.
Yeah.
But maybe a couple of years away.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. We'll leave Melbourne United there and look forward to people getting involved in the tipping. So you can find that one via the link tree on the Instagram page.
You've obviously talked about the Supercoach code.
Yes, we did mention the Supercoach code. That you can find that one in our special episode with our guest speaker, Mr. Baz Bailey.
I think I would start favourite for that competition.
What's your team name?
Zingerbox.
Zingerbox.
Knowing my BBL Supercoach performance, I'm thinking it's going to translate into one letter off the NBL Supercoach, and
yeah, I think they look pretty closely with the schedule. Like, it's not like the AFL one where every team plays one game a week.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
You've really got to be on that. Especially the same with the Big Bash. Some teams play double in the round, so you try to get them in. It's just, it's got to be a real thinker.
Yep. So get around the tipping, get around the Supercoach, and we'll see you next episode for the New Zealand Breakers. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.